The following is a hockey podcast out of Vancouver and Surrey, British Columbia. It'll only consist of a lot of puck talk and even more BS, or in actual words, banter and satire. Enjoy, and as always, go Canucks go.
You're Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
The Canucks, man, they be dropping like flies, but it's all good. It's all good here on a Monday. I'm Trevor Beggs. That guy's Kyle Bhawan. You're listening to Locked On Canucks, and today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com and win $300 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Kyle, despite the fact that, numerous Canucks players went down on Sunday, despite the fact they were missing Brock Besser, I'm feeling like I won the lottery, man, and that's because Elias Pettersson is starting to look like the Pettersson of old. So to kick off today's show, I do want to get into all the injury updates as well as we get later on in this episode, making sense of the Canucks, flurry of roster moves. But I want to start by talking about the fact that these injuries don't matter as much as you think because of the fact that Elias Pettersson is starting to look like the Pettersson of old. And Kyle, one of the things I want to know, are we getting too excited about a couple good games of Elias Pettersson? Or are we just judging him in exactly the right way right now?
Dude, how could we get too excited about this when we've been fiending for this drug for quite some time and now we're taking hits of it for 3 straight games? And B, how could you say we're getting too over the top, too excited? We're teasing this too much or teasing the return too much when, again, for the most part of Elias Pettersson's career, he's been that guy. He's been picking up points, and he's the hardest working Canuck on the ice. And in recent history, Trevor, he's been that way. And this is the statement, Trevor, okay? The Vancouver Canucks cannot be desperate to replace Filipino ASAP because right now they should play this card, and that's play Elias Pettersson more. That's why he's here. That's why we're paying him. Other teams have gone through injuries, major injuries early in the season, and you rely on your star players. And Elias Pettersson, you took 21 plus months straight off. Boom, bam, what are the chances? You start heating up, and now you got all this on your shoulders. Well, embrace it. And honestly speaking, Trevor, I know he's never done this in the past because he always had Miller or Horvat behind him, but I'm really, really excited to see Elias Pettersson step up to the plate and not only continue what he's been doing over the last 3 games, but maybe even get better and become a fan favorite again because, man, oh, man, this task is daunting. It's Pettersson, it's Ratu, it's Joe LeBate, it's Max Sasson. It's Jimmy Schmaltz or whatever. But I don't know. I think for the short term or maybe like for the next 30 days, Elias Pettersson can do this.
Yeah, man. I got to give you some credit because you were the one saying about a week ago when Pettersson wasn't playing very well that they got to play Pettersson more to help him get out of this slump. And what do you know? I think a mix of that coupled with the fact that he's been now skating with Connor Garland, both of those things have helped his game. And Kyle, we're all looking for turning points in Elias Pettersson, right? Like I've heard some people mention the Chicago game. Some people mention plays in the Dallas game. For me, I said it before and I'll say it again. Every Dayers know. I think the turning point for him was scoring on his own net against the Dallas Stars. The puck tips off of him, goes into the net past Thatcher Demko, gives the Stars the lead. You're on the road. You're against a superior Stars team. And all of a sudden, I think Pettersson's game started to change after that. Now, look, I think there's been some so-so moments mixed in there. So I'm still pumping the brakes a little bit on the return of Elias Pettersson. He still just has 1 goal and 3 points in 6 games. But man, oh man, it has looked like a different Pettersson for the most part, right? Again, I think there were some slow moments early in that Chicago game, right? Like that's kind of what I'm thinking about when I think about Elias Pettersson over the last 3 games. But again, I think that duo with him and Connor Garland has looked good. I think the first power play unit has looked strong since Garland has been put up there. Now, don't get me wrong. I do still think Connor Garland is the Canucks' best forward, but you pair Connor Garland with Elias Pettersson, who has the most potential among Canucks forwards. I think you can be cooking on the top line. I think you can play those guys probably more than you should, at least for this stretch, just to see how the rest of the lineup does underneath Elias Pettersson. But Kyle, we said it all through the offseason. This team is going to go as far as Elias Pettersson's bounce back and take them. And now that's really going to be put to the test now. And thankfully, this has happened after a 3-game stretch where Elias Pettersson has started to look like the Pettersson of old. I think we would be calling it in, mailing it in, saying blow up the team if Pettersson had looked bad through 6 games, but just these extra 3 games where he's looked like the Pettersson of old has given the fan base some hope. And again, the Canucks, they got to ride this guy. They got no choice, but at least they can feel a little bit better about it now, Kyle.
Yeah. It's, again, divine timing is a really dark thing considering what happened to Chytil, but there is a little bit of irony here. And again, get well soon, Chytil. But I don't know. Like, Elias Pettersson, to me, like, it's a definite yes, he's back. And again, I'm just so excited to see if he can, be responsible, be a leader, and return the favor. Like, we've been patient. Yeah, we've been mean. We've been bullied. I'm sorry. No, we actually, you know what? We've been bullied too.
We've been bullied. We've been
bullies and bullied because Pettersson's a shitty play over the last 21 plus months. And now it's like, yo, you're back. And the challenge is even, I was going to say dauntier. Like, daunting, but like, I was going to make up a word there. It's 2025. Let me do me. But this is a scary challenge. It's Halloween. And I'm excited, man. I'm excited. And Trevor, come on, man. Elias Pettersson's back. I mean, Spencer Knight's been one of the best goalies in hockey, dude. You know what I'm saying? And like a couple games ago, Elias Pettersson could have had like 4 or 5 points against that dude. A couple goals, a couple of grade A assists to either Brock Besser or Valentino Martini Mancini. The points would have been there. And again, normally I'm not that type of guy. I like to see the proof. I don't want to see the analytical stuff. I want to see the OG box score from like 1997 being the only thing that matters. But I don't know. The eye test is giving me a lot of excitement. And, based on how he played yesterday, the fact that he was able to still be so confident after a game where he didn't pick up any points in Chicago, right? He went from Chicago to Washington and right away he scores a goal against the Capitals. I just feel like he's moving on, man. He's moving forward, and let's have some faith. And Trevor, again, not completely moving off the Pettersson point, but bringing it back to the whole, the Canucks have to make a trade. The Canucks have to make a trade. Dude, I'm sorry, Vancouver Canucks fans. I love the effort. I'm proud of the boys for thugging it out and winning 3 straight on the road. But this team is still very much a team that's being carried by strong goaltending. And this is not a team where you clear the cupboards out just to replace the Chytil. And to be honest, I'm looking bigger for the Vancouver Canucks. When they do open up like their imaginations and want to make trades, they probably need 2 top 6 guys, and that's when you really want to get explosive. But until they can prove for like a 20-game stretch that they're deeper than Demko and Lankinen, like bailing them out, I don't know, man. Like we can't get desperate here. No, we can't. We can't. I'm sorry. Not a team that barely makes the playoffs for the past 10 plus years. Like, you cannot this is not the team to get desperate with right now.
Yeah, I like, for all of our Elias Pettersson hype, you did kind of spit the truth there that this team has been propped up by Thatcher Demko and Kevin Lankinen, right? I mean, 5 of the 6 starts, like, they have arguably bailed their team out in 5 of these 6 games. And I don't want to discredit the Canucks too much. I mean, you get up to a 4-0 lead on the road when you play, 3 games in 60 plus hours against the Washington Capitals. Like, that's impressive stuff, right? But at the end of the day, Thatcher Demko did have to stand tall. And, the Canucks were kind of hanging on in that game, right? But again, look, it's early days. And Kyle, like you said, the Canucks got to be able to weather the storm. But I think we now feel more confident about their ability to weather the storm now that they have Elias Pettersson. Of course, one love to Chytil as well, man. Like, that's some scary stuff. We'll talk a bit more about Chytil on the other side as well. But Kyle, I kind of look at it through this way, right? In terms of the value, I think Chytil, Teddy Blueger, even when you look at the Athletics player cards, where they kind of put a dollar value to a person's play, Chytil and Teddy Blueger kind of played to their salary, right? At kind of like 4.4 and 1.9, right? So if both of them are gone at center, you got another, 6-ish million of the lineup. But Kyle, Elias Pettersson at his peak was valued at around a $13 or $14 million player. And he went down to about a $6-ish million player last year.
Holy.
If Pettersson is back, he automatically, kind of erases the loss of Chytil and Blueger. Now, Blueger's not expected out long-term. One of the guys that did not end up on injured reserve. But again, you get some depth guys in the bigger roles. That doesn't matter as much if you have Elias Pettersson playing like the number 1 center that he has been throughout most of his career.
Yeah, but Trevor, let's be honest, man. Like, maybe like Chytil's not like an analytical darling, but we will miss like his speed, his ability to just make plays out of nowhere. I mean, you look at the second goal that Tyler Myers made, like, that's Chytil doing the most. after a good breakup by Quinn Hughes. Like, we're going to miss that. So to even that out, like, again, Elias Pettersson just like, again, I'm being nice to him, more nice to him than you are, because, again, he only has 3 points in 6 games. But now moving forward without Filipino, there has to be an emphasis on, okay, stop. Like, we don't really give a puck if you're an analytical darling, Elias Pettersson. It's time to stack up the box sheet. Like, we for 21 plus months have been missing like the 3-point nights, the 2-point nights. You know what I'm saying, Trevor? Like the 50 points in 35 games. Like, that has to start now. That's how we can erase what we're missing in the lineup with Bluger and Chytil. And like, oh yeah, according to my calculator, the Canucks are missing $6 million for the players that expect a goal score when they're playing with their eyes closed. No, like we need Garland and him, and Trevor, maybe we can carry this on the other side. We need Garland and Pettersson to be good for like 2.5, like, I don't know, 2 goals a game moving forward. Like, let's be honest, Trevor. And I just think they can. It's early in the season. We're not even at game 10 yet. There's going to be teams who are not perfect defensively, right? Like, you got to wait till like 10, 15, 20 games until teams kind of like ramp up and are more structured. And until then, because we don't know how long Filipino's out for, I'm looking at the next 4 games. Until then, we do need Elias Pettersson and Connor Garland to like pad up the box score, the first fancy stat ever invented.
Yeah, well, there you go. The first fantasy stat ever invented. Now, look, scoring at even strength is harder than I think most believe, right? Like, even the top guys in the league don't score 1 goal a game or contribute to 1 goal a game at even strength. Like, that's tough to do. But Kyle, to your point, yeah, I think, can they get like 1 even strength goal and 1 power play goal per game? Like, I think that would be great, right? And I think that power play is probably, special teams in general, I think is going to have to play a big role for this team when they have this many injuries up front. And again, we'll see about the status of some of these guys, but we're talking about Filipino mainly. Like, when you have this many injuries up front, your lineup's shallower, more depleted. You need your power play to step up. You need your big 5 to step up. And the Canucks and the Killer are going to have to continue playing good as well. Like, I know their PK, they've started to allow some goals. I think it's slightly below league average last time I checked, but in terms of the chances they've allowed, they're actually not doing too bad. So special teams is going to have to be a huge factor now. I'm going to throw this question to the listeners. Interact with us on YouTube Live or after the fact, Twitter, wherever you send us mail if you want, man, wherever you interact with us. Are we getting too hyped up about 3 good games of Elias Pettersson? How is the fan base? How are you feeling about Pettersson's ability to carry this team with Filipino now out of the lineup for what could be an extended period of time? Speaking of Chytil, we'll get to the updates on him. The rest of the updates, it was a busy day for Patrick Allvin, man, on the road, going from Washington to Pittsburgh. We'll get to all those updates on the other side. You're listening to Locked On Canucks. From talking about the dude to talking about the monies. This episode is brought to you by Monarch Money, baby. If you don't know about your financial accounts, or you can't even name them, your RSP, your TFSA, your RESP, what are those? Or if you don't know what your properties are worth, all that stuff. If you're having trouble keeping track, make sure you use Monarch Money. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings together your entire financial life in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or on your cellular device. And man, oh man, I said it before, and this is the truth. Monarch Money, it's eased my stress, man. You know what? Now I can combine my finances with my wife's finances on the app. And because now all our stuff is clean, easy, tracked, it's eased the stress. And because of that, I now last 43 seconds longer in the sack for a grand total of 90 seconds, baby. Let's go. Hey, make sure that you don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Ease your stress and use code LOCKEDONNHL at monarch.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarch.com, code LOCKEDONNHL for half off of your first year, baby.
People, we back doing this, and that's talking about your Vancouver Canucks. My name's Kyle Bhawan. That right there is the second greatest dad of all time. Straight up, doing a lot of family time this weekend, but you know the deal. Trevor Beggs, still using Sportsnet Plus because he doesn't care about his family's finances, or streaming the game illegally on his phone, with the kids, watching hockey, doing the most, Trevor. Man, oh man, I don't know how you concentrate, man. I don't know how you pay attention to your kids when the Canucks, I don't know. Yesterday was an emotional game. In the morning, kids running around, breakfast being made again. You're the second greatest dad in the world for a big reason, right? And you're watching the game in the morning. I applaud. I just want to applaud you, man. You're doing great work.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. And yeah, but yesterday morning, that was the calm part of my day, man. My daughter's 5th birthday party, 24 kids showing up. Holy Christ, man. Surprisingly, I was the only parent to show up wearing an animal onesie for my daughter's jungle theme party, man. What a shocker. But yeah, man.
You're a fun guy, Trevor. This is, again, emphasis on Trevor Beggs being the second best dad in the world. Anyways, finish.
Yeah, I can't remember the next point. No, I was going to say, at least the game yesterday started off on a good note. And of course, it got stressful at the end for all that analysis post game. Go check out the postcast from yesterday, Kyle. You held it together while I was off scratching my sack with the kids. Whoa, well, that didn't come out right.
Okay.
But I mean, look, the Canucks pop out to an early lead. It was impressive to see on the road. You couldn't have blamed them for being tired based on the schedule. But the Capitals were the team that looked tired early on. The Canucks just controlled that first period, got a 3-goal lead, and never looked back, even though it got a little tense of late.
They looked back, Trevor. Come on. They got, I think somebody was saying that they got, when it comes to shot attempts, fancy stats, the shot attempts were 62-20 in the last 35 minutes of that game, okay? They're getting work.
Like I said, you couldn't have blamed them for being tired off. You could have blamed them for being tired off the jump, right? And they came out with a good lead. They never looked back in the sense that they had a lead from the first minute of the game onwards, Kyle. Come on, stop getting into the stats, Kyle. Come on, I'm gonna smack you with the calculator, man. Unbelievable.
And what's that made up thing you guys always say? A score effect has a lot to do with what happens at the end of the game when the score is blown out. Anyways, comments. Man, oh man. Stephen Wong saying Ratu, Sasson, LeBate down the middle. That's nice. And the Beer Baron saying more Pettersson is the answer. Trevor, update us, man. Because again, Teddy Blueger not playing tomorrow. Very unlikely, according to Patrick Alvin. And yeah, Filipino's already flying back to Vancouver. We don't know. Melvin asking if it's a concussion. We don't know. I saw somebody on Twitter, a doctor saying it could be broken ribs. That could be an AI robot for all we know. But all in all, again, Trevor, Joe LeBate, Max Sasson, Atu Ratu. Yo, we might as well put Manny Malhotra in at this point. Man, oh man.
Hey, Henrik Sedin's been practicing at 4th line center for some Canucks practices there. So, yeah, a lot happening for your Vancouver Canucks. Yeah, like you said, the update, Teddy Blueger. I think it's good news that he wasn't put on IR. Because, right, if you're on IR, you're out at least a week, right? And then the team can revisit after the fact now. Höglander got placed on IR, and then the team announced he's out for 8 to 10 weeks, so you never know. But the fact that Blueger was not placed on IR, it sounds like it's short term. Again, he's doubtful to play tomorrow. He's not 100% out like Chytil and Lecker-Mackey, who have flown back to Vancouver for further evaluation. Sounds like Brock Besser, who missed Sunday due to personal reasons, is a possibility to return tomorrow. And look, Kyle, I think one of the saving graces here is that you have the Pittsburgh Penguins and the Nashville Predators over the next 2 games. Now, you can't necessarily take them lightly, but it's not like you're playing the Edmonton Oilers and the Colorado Avalanche, right? You're playing 2 of the worst teams in the NHL last season. They've had some better moments early on in this campaign. But yeah, those are good tests, I think, with this caliber of lineup to see, can the Canucks hold it down? Now, one of the other things I wanted to get to as we kind of update you on what's going on. Victor Mancini sent down Roy All in the comments saying, why are they sending Mancini down? So yes, Victor Mancini sent to the AHL. Jimmy Schultz called up. And this really has to do with the Canucks trying to maximize the LTIR, the cap gymnastics math. So what the Canucks are trying to do is capture as much of Nils Höglander's $3 million salary on LTIR as possible. They were already tied up against the cap before. So the fact that Mancini makes $100,000 more than Jimmy Schultz, that makes a difference. The fact that, Joel LeBate makes league minimum where guys like Nils Amon make above that makes a difference. So the Canucks, again, are just trying to capitalize as much of that as possible. Pierre-Olivier Joseph was activated from IR a couple days ago, so he'll likely slot in. It'll mainly be Jimmy Schultz will be basically replacing Pierre-Olivier Joseph as the 7th defenseman. But Kyle, aside from just the nerdy cap gymnastics math, I mean, what were your thoughts about Victor Mancini being sent down? Because I thought after a rough first game against the Blues, I think is when he played the first game, right? Yeah, because Forbort played the first 2. after a rough first game, I thought Mancini's kind of settled in a bit, gets in a fight during the game against the Capitals. But yeah, what are your thoughts there about Mancini being sent down? And by the way, new NHL rules dictate that Mancini has to play at least one AHL game before he can be recalled by the Vancouver Canucks.
Man, I mean, we gotta ask ourselves this question, because my original thought is like, cap circumvention and, you know, being better on the books is cool, and whatnot. That's great, but don't we need to win games? Don't we need to win games? Like, who cares about the Bucks? But if you're playing Valentino Martini Mancini, and maybe they were doing this because it was a really physical game yesterday, but I think he got like 7 minutes yesterday. You know what I'm saying? So maybe we don't have to dress the better player, because I do think Mancini is a better player than P.O. Joseph. And Trevor, moving forward, I feel like the 6th defenseman on this team, and this is a surprise to me. Maybe like Adam Foote. I don't want to say he's desperate for wins early on. I think the whole organization is, especially in the beginning part of the year. And again, more so than ever with all these injuries, maybe like Adam Foote wants to just play his best players in the short term, and it'll lead to this. But don't you feel like the Canucks are just going to play like 4.5 defensemen like for the next like 4 days, 4 games? I'm sorry. Like, that's how it's kind of looking. Like, why is Mancini only getting 7 minutes? I know he was in the box for a 5-minute major. Maybe he had to like wait for a whistle too. It could have been longer, but like, I didn't expect the 6th defenseman on our team, whether it be P.O. Joseph or Valentino Martini, to play 7 minutes in a game. So on one end, I'm like, okay, P.O. Joseph's worse than Mancini, and I don't like how they're trying to like manage their books more so than be better on the ice. But I don't know, 7 minutes a game, you're not going to really miss him that much.
Yeah, I had a couple theories about this, right? Because again, like you said, Mancini yesterday played 656 overall. It was not a heavy night for Mancini. He ends up being on the ice for 1 goal against. I wonder if he got hurt in that fight, or if he got benched by Foote. I don't know if it was a mistake out there. I didn't see anything egregious, or maybe the fact that he fought a guy when the Canucks were up 4-0. Like, he didn't need to do that. He didn't need to give any ammunition, and he did, right?
Adam Foote talked about that. I don't know if I think your mic went out. I don't know if the plug's in there, but Adam Foote, Trevor didn't sound pleased about Mancini fighting a 4th liner when the score was 4-0. But I don't know. Like, I don't think that's warranting of a benching, right? And maybe it's this though, Trevor. You're smarter than me, because again, if they're managing their books for like something bigger, then it makes sense. But Roy is saying, sounding like management is freeing up every penny to sign or trade somebody to fill in the void. Like, I don't know how the cap gymnastics work. Is that like something that makes sense?
Yeah, it does. I think it's even though to me it didn't necessarily make that much sense, it was probably one of the reasons why they traded Dakota Joshua in the summer and got no one back in return. It was just being ready to acquire a player later in the season, because again, there's lots of nerdy cap gymnastics math, but cap space accrues daily, right? So the more cap space you have at any given time, the more you can afford later in the season if you want to acquire somebody, right? So it does all add up. It probably doesn't matter too much to me and you or the casual fan out there, but for making that big splash, it does all add up, right? And I think the Canucks got some things in the hopper, but if they had a deal that they really liked, they would have made it by now, right? But Kyle, to your point that you made early in the episode, don't be desperate here. You got 2 games against not the craziest opponents over the next little bit. Like, just see how it looks, see how your team heals up. Maybe Teddy Blueger takes the next 2 games off and he's ready to go for the weekend, right? Brock Besser could come back too. So, but I mean, look, and we should know more about Chytil then, right? But if Chytil is out for a long time, then the Canucks are probably going to have to look at something here, but they should just try to see if they can weather the storm for the next little bit, because they've had a bit of momentum here.
100%, Trevor. Again, it's only game 6, but a lot going on with your Canucks. And again, I'm not excited for the injuries, because I don't want Filipino. Like, we've had Filipino for a short amount of time, but I have a great amount of love for that guy, considering he even tried so hard to get back into the lineup last year after getting a concussion against the Blackhawks. Like, that just proves to you that he loves hockey and he wants to be with the boys. And he was barely a Canuck, but again, he's risking so much of his future livelihood to represent the blue and the green and the black and the orange and the red. And I got a lot of love for that, man, because his play on the ice dictates my happiness and maybe yours too, right? Because he's a good player and he's risking a lot for that. And again, I don't want to say this is like divine timing, or I don't want to ultimately say like I'm excited to see if the Canucks can overcome this. But man, oh man, you brought up the weekend. I want to see if Quinn Hughes and Elias Pettersson by themselves could beat Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. Just as a sports fan and a Canucks fan, like, we're shorthanded, but I want to see if we can rise up to the challenge. And I'll throw Thatcher Demko into that mix too. So all in all, it's early in the season. I guess it's better to face the injuries now. Go Canucks, go. They've already proven us wrong in a span of 6 days. Well, proven me wrong. So I'm ready to see them surprise me even more.
Yeah, 100%, man. And we'll see how it goes. Again, like we should get more updates. Canucks not practicing today. They will have a game day skate ahead of the Pittsburgh Penguins game tomorrow is it still PPG Paints Arena? It doesn't matter. They're playing Pittsburgh tomorrow with Artur Shilovs potentially in net. Or BC boy Tristan Jarry. There you go. Spicy storylines all over the place. Okay, Kyle, let's wrap up the show on the other side. Get to some comments, and maybe we'll even run Go to the Week. That's coming up here on Locked On Canucks. All right, before we get back to the show, let's shout out our friends over at FanDuel, baby. Man, oh man. NFL season here, NHL season in full swing, of course. Major League Baseball playoffs are here as well, and you can get in on all the action on FanDuel, baby. And FanDuel, they're especially helping out the new customers, right? Okay, so right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. My Seattle Seahawks playing the Houston Texans tonight. Give me the Seahawks all day, baby. I'm all over that Seahawks bandwagon. Kyle, your Green Bay Packers, they didn't quite manhandle the Arizona Cardinals, but they got it done. Again, I don't know, man. I bet on the Packers at one time and they helped me out, but I'm not doing it again, man. I'm not giving the green.
Yeah, it was stressful. I'm not gonna lie, but a win's a win, and I've been around the earth a lot of times, man. Well, not around the earth, but I've been on earth for a lot of years, and I don't care about wins in October. Just get the wins, get better towards the end of the year. Go Packers, go. Boom, bam.
It's good advice to the Vancouver Canucks too. Get the wins, bank the points, because you never know, and be ready to go when it comes to April. Again, whatever bet you're placing, do it on FanDuel. Any problems with gambling, check out the phone numbers, the links in our description of the episode. If you're ready to rock and roll, go visit FanDuel.com and download the app today.
People, we back doing this, and that's talking about your Vancouver Canucks. Do us all a favor, hit the like button, support the show. Christmas is coming up. I'm about to get married in about 6 to 7 years. Each plate of butter chicken at that point will be $45. My wedding's looking at $467,000. So if you want to support my wedding, hit the like button. Speaking of your support, let's get to some comments here on Locked On Canucks. Man, oh man, Happy Jack saying, I'm really looking forward to the day when all the Pettersson negative talk goes away. This is the opportunity with all the injuries. And it is. Like, again, we have the smartest hockey fan base in the league, even though we've burnt some buildings down, okay, after some losses. I know. We're a bit crazy, but we're smart, and we know for sure. And, we're creatures of not the habit, but the moment. If Elias Pettersson is able to put the team on his back, put Joe LeBate, Jimmy Schmaltz, and Jason Magna on his back and pick up some dubs here and do so with some grace, like look sexy doing it, because this guy's doing his D's. He's looking phenomenal. We're going to forget the last 21 months because, again, we're prisoners of the moment, and I'm excited. Next comment. This one goes to Ray Alley. Is that Ray Alley or Ray All? I think Ray
I see Roy All.
Roy All. So why am I saying Ray?
Or Roy AI.
Is this guy a robot? Do you want to support a robot?
Well, let's not assume, man. Let's assume it's Roy All. Roy All, the real human being. Okay,
big chance for the Abby Junior Canucks to step up. Trevor Beggs, before you get to go to the week. I also do want to read a comment from yesterday that's going to spark a bit of emotion from you. I know you got to go, but before all that happens, who was going to step up the most with all these absences down the middle? Outside of
Okay.
Pettersson.
What's that?
Outside of Pettersson, like out of the junior guys, the junior Canucks.
I'm going to go and say Aatu Ratu, which may be a bit surprising because this guy just got healthy scratch. But look, I thought Aatu Ratu had a really strong first couple of games of the season. Obviously, the metrics weren't kind to him in that Dallas game. But this is a guy that I think, he works his ass off. He tries hard. I think there's some untapped offensive potential there. And I thought he showed some chemistry with Kiefer Sherwood as well. So this is a guy that, Kyle, this guy might be going, at least in the short term, from the press box to your second line center, which is nuts. It's nuts. But I'm really curious to see him in this role, man. Like this guy's got his potential is much higher than the other centers in the depth chart. With no offense to Max Sasson or Joe LeBate, like Aatu Ratu's got a much higher ceiling, and I'm just curious if he can capitalize on it. Look, I still think the skating is a bit of an issue, but I think again he works his ass off. He wins a lot of faceoffs. He hits guys. He's got a great shot. I'm curious to see what he can do in this role, and I think he is going to step up and make the Canucks think that maybe this guy does deserve a bigger role.
I'm going to agree with you, but I'm also going to say Joe LeBate. I think a guy like me, I'm talking to myself, I'm craving a little SOB in this lineup, okay? Because we're not getting that from Cash Kane. No way Evander Kane is getting into a scrap with Tom Wilson when he's got his best friend Cash Patel in the audience, okay? No chance. Celebrity Kane, dude. Man, oh man.
Oh man,
Anyways,
what's a Canadian doing hanging out with the guy that wants to annex Canada, man? Anyways,
hey, Trevor, this ain't Locked On Canada, okay? It's Locked On Canucks. Who are the goats of the week?
All right, one of my favorite segments, the goats of the week, the best Canucks from the last week. And much like the first week of the season, I think there's a clear-cut top two, and then the other three are up for debate. But I'm going to start from the top down this week, okay? I'm Thatcher Demko, the reigning champ again at number one. It's hard to pick anyone else outside of Thatcher Demko whenever he's in the pipes, he's basically stealing the Canucks games, right? He did it early against the Dallas Stars. He did it late against the Washington Capitals, keeping the Canucks in it when they absolutely need elite goaltending. And he is the primary reason why we're 4-2 this season. Honorable mention to Kevin Lankinen, who did not make the goats of the week despite one pretty heroic start against the Chicago Blackhawks. Number two, I have Connor Garland, tied for the team leading points right now. First, the Canucks top penalty killing forward, the guy that made power play one better, the guy that's setting up Elias Pettersson, saving his bacon, making him look better. Connor Garland is the Canucks' best forward right now. I don't think it's all that close, and he was the best Canuck forward in the last week too.
Trevor, can you break that down? Like, break down why that worked, and because you were like, along with Mike in the comments, a lot of people in the comments want to see Garland and Pettersson together. I think more so than me, because I was like, oh, Besser, Sherwood. Like, I kind of want to see Sherwood with Pettersson more so than Garland, but you were on the Garland tip. Like, why is that working, and why is it working ASAP?
I think there's two main things. One is Garland's playmaking ability, and I think the reason why you spread them out before is because you wanted, different play drivers on different lines, but Elias Pettersson hasn't been driving play to the same degree. We've all seen that. And Garland's the best forward on this team to get the most out of Elias Pettersson because he retrieves pucks in corners. He hangs on to pucks. He makes nifty plays. Like even Pettersson's goal, right? It was Connor Garland causing a turnover, passing it quickly to Elias Pettersson, who makes that shot and scores. And then Connor Garland, too, I think is one of the best defensive forwards on the team, which is crazy for a guy who's probably 5'8", 165 pounds. But he's so smart in his own end. You see the breakups on the PK. Always gets back. He's always hustling. Look, he is the best forward on this team. And when you pair the best forward on this team with the guy who should be the best forward on this team, who is on the rise, I think you got someone cooking there. It's more so how does it affect the rest of the lineup? But getting Pettersson going is the first and foremost thing that matters most for the Vancouver Canucks. And I mean, Connor Garland, man, oh man, he probably had 4 goals against the Stars last week. That was a crazy performance from Connor. Okay, number 3, I do have Quinn Hughes. He did not make the goat of the week on the first week. He is number 3 on the list this week. Starting to pile up some points. Just looking like the Quinn Hughes of old. Look, I don't think it's been quite Quinn Hughes' peak that we've seen in the past. Just have been some turnovers, some plays where you're like, okay, this guy hasn't been perfect. He hasn't been flawless, but he's been damn good. And the Canucks are not the same team without him. We all know that. Number 4, I don't know if this is controversial because I think there's a lot of good Canucks this week, but I do have Elias Pettersson cracking the goats of the week rankings at number 4. Again, the guy's looking better. The defensive impact there is good too, Kyle. Like blocking shots against that Washington game, a couple big blocks late in the game. The deeks are going to come back. Bro, do those deeks. And you'll be number 1 next time we do Goats of the Week. And number 5, man, oh man, maybe this is because I love Abbotsford so much, but I got Max Sasson making the list. 2 goals last week. Why are you making that face for, Kyle? I scored twice. You look great out there.
Where's Kiefer Sherwood? Again, it's Sasson 2 goals out. You know what? The Canucks had a good week, man. I think that's what you try doing here, Trevor. Yeah, the Canucks had a good week. It's hard to pick 5. Kiefer Sherwood didn't even make the top 5 Canucks of the week, Trevor. That's what you try doing here, man. One love to Max Sasson, okay? Okay, Trevor? Okay, continue.
No, that's about it, man. I really think that the Calder Cup line, both in the Dallas game and the Chicago game, saved the team's ass, right? The whole team was skating in quicksand. They looked hungover in the Stars game. It was that line led by Max Sasson, who just got recalled, with a bit of a chip on his shoulder, that turned the momentum in that first period, shows the speed going down the wings, scores against the Stars. And Kyle, if he doesn't score that goal against the Chicago Blackhawks on a shift where he dumped a guy on the boards, had Jason Dickinson all over his back, and then scores another goal, if we don't score that goal, we're talking about a very different story in Chicago. So I got to shut up Max Sasson for not only getting his call back up to the NHL, but making an impact immediately.
Yep, 100%. Man, oh man, it's been a good week. It's been a good week, and it's always a good week for the show. The comments are pouring in, and I want to get into this comment. Then we got to go. So maybe tomorrow, I'm gonna ask Trevor if maybe we'll do a whole episode if the Canucks need to be more tough. Anyways, let's run this segment. I think we call this comment of the yesterday. And this comment comes from I can't even read his username because this
Trinity Business Blessing.
Okay, there you go. Okay, he's saying, Kyle, you're wrong about the team chemistry. This show is not watchable. I came back to give you another shot. Garbage, negative commentary. Won't watch again. He's watching today's episode. That's for sure. Come on, this is Locked On Canucks. And yesterday I went in on the team for not being tough enough, for not backing each other up. I went in. I'm going to say less. If you want to watch the episode, go watch it. This does come a couple days after, or maybe the day after Steve Dangle and some Toronto Maple Leafs fans and Stolarz himself, like the goalie of the Toronto Maple Leafs. I'm paraphrasing just a bit, but he wants more toughness out of his team after being run over multiple times. All in all, though, Trevor, I don't know, again, maybe we'll elaborate more tomorrow. Are you proud of the Canucks for leaning towards picking up 2 points and listening to their head coach? Like Adam Foote told them, get the 2 points. Don't worry about all the BS. More so than they are not defending Philip Chytil, who, I don't know if this is the family. Kiefer Sherwood saying this is the family, I don't know. I feel like there should have been more done there. All in all, though, take it away and then sign us out.
Yeah, man, I struggle with this one a bit, but I kind of lean more towards call me soft, man. I not the biggest guy in the world, man. Balls are a little tiny, but I lean more towards the Adam Foote and the 2 points metric. If the Canucks are going after Tom Wilson, we're all happy about it. But if it means they don't get the 2 points and this team ends up missing the playoffs in the long run, that's going to have the longer effect than, they didn't do anything to protect Philip Chytil. Look, Linus Karlsson did go after him in the moment. Anyone who fights Tom Wilson is going to get their ass kicked. I mean, Marcus Pettersson's done it before. Which is crazy to think that a guy who's 6'5", 120 pounds fought Tom Wilson, but he did it. I think what matters more is getting the 2 points, right? And look, even with the Jason Dickinson thing, it is the narrative's still there because 2 games in a row, it's did they do much? But Connor Garland tried to get a licking on Dickinson, ended up injuring him, which is kind of crazy to think that Connor Garland stepped up. So team toughness isn't necessarily you got to drop the gloves with Tom Wilson. They went after him in the moment. For me, at least they did something in the moment. It wasn't just they left it at the time. And look, they went after Jason Dickinson too. So I'm giving the team a pass on team toughness. I know we all want blood, right? If it bleeds, it leads. That's what they teach you in J school. But the Canucks did do something in both the situations, even if it wasn't what maybe most fans wanted. But they're winning games, man. They're winning games, and that's what matters more than anything else.
And you know what else matters? This comment. Nancy saying happy Diwali, and Dan Jardine saying happy Diwali too. Trevor, if it was Christmas, you would have started off the episode with Merry Christmas, man. But there's no happy Diwali off the start. Maybe you should be hanging out with Kash Patel. Anyways, that was another episode of
Whoa.
That was another episode of Locked On Canucks. Trevor Beggs, take it away.
Oh man, yeah, happy to all. It's that's my bad, man. That's my bad. You can kick me in my tiny balls after this episode's done, man. One love to you and you for listening, tuning in. If you like what we're doing, share the show with a friend, a colleague, a coworker, your mom. Share with all of them. You can support the show as well by liking and subscribing on YouTube. On the podcast side, you can follow us. Leave a 5-star review. It does help us out a lot. We'll be back tomorrow and all week, every day for the rest of eternity here on Locked On Canucks.
You're Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.